When retiring in Washington State, you may end up with a lot more benefits than you may originally expect. It's a popular retirement destination, and for good reason too. The community is vibrant, the scenery is great, and the tax policies play a significant role in attracting potential retirees. From various exemptions and deductions that can save you a ton of money, there's a variety of reasons as to why Washington State is a premier retirement spot for everyone. This is Intelligentsia, real-life advice for practical and financial goals. Today, we want to talk about Washington State's tax situation for retirees and how you can maneuver through it. So let's get to it. When talking about taxes, there are a lot of different types, but the main ones you want to think about are state income taxes, property taxes, and sales taxes. Let's start with state income taxes. When retiring, most of the time, you wouldn't mind income taxes too much because some retirees plan on just relaxing and using their savings for their everyday lives. However, if you're concerned about how Washington State does it, then luckily for you, retiring in Washington State is beneficial. It's attractive for numerous reasons, but one of the more important points to think about is that there is no state income tax. Unlike other states, Washington doesn't impose personal income taxes on residents. As a result, retirees can use their retirement income without thinking of being taxed for it. That means you can enjoy your retirement income without worrying about state-level income tax deductions or other liabilities involved. This feature alone significantly contributes to your retirement's financial stability. Fixed incomes like Social Security benefits, pension, and retirement savings are greatly affected by this, and as a result, you end up having to compute your expenses easier. That's about it for state income taxes, as there's nothing much to say here. Now let's move on to property taxes. Now for property taxes, this is where it gets a little tricky in terms of what to consider. For starters, since the state doesn't tax retirees for income taxes, they still need to tax people to keep the state functioning. And while that's a boon for many retirees, you will need to consider other things like property taxes. That being said, property taxes do depend on location at a county level, and it varies from one county to another. Another important consideration to think of when talking about property taxes is that Washington State uses the ad valorem taxation system, in which property taxes are based on the assessed value of the property. Because of this, Washington State has created programs for retirees to ease the burden of property taxes. There's the senior citizen and disabled person exemptions. For this one, the exemption amount varies depending on the applicant's age and income. This exemption ranges from a few $100s to more than $1,000 annually. As a result, this effectively saves you much needed funds for other purposes. Property Tax Deferral Program. Now, there are some retirees who are rich because of their properties, but not necessarily when it comes to income. Washington State offers a deferral program for those who fall under this condition. The program allows eligible residents to defer property taxes and pay them off at a future date. Generally, this date is when the property is sold. This is an effective tool for retirees to essentially save up on money that they otherwise would have used for something else. If retirees prefer to stay in their homes but don't have the means to meet their property tax obligations, they can utilize this tool instead. Homestead Exemption. Washington State also offers a homestead exemption, albeit not as extensive as other states. In times of financial difficulty, this exemption can protect a portion of their homestead's value from creditors. In terms of property taxes, it does tend to be one of the bigger portions when it comes to overall tax payments, but due to the number of credits you get for retiring, you can save up a lot and still be able to make your tax obligations. That said, another important consideration when retiring in Washington State is sales tax exemptions. Sales tax is important to consider because as a retiree, most of what you'll be doing with your money is spending it on living expenses. Washington State's sales tax is relatively high compared to other states and plays a huge part in how the state makes its money. As of 2023, Washington has a 6.5% state sales rate, a max local sales tax rate of 4.10%, and an average combined state and local sales tax rate of 8.86%. Local jurisdictions can also impose additional sales taxes, which can significantly increase the overall rate depending on where you reside. Because of this, it's important for retirees to know the sales tax rates of their specific area. Now, while Washington State's sales tax may seem high, there are a few exceptions afforded to retirees in order to help them out. For essential goods, for instance, retirees are often in need of things such as prescription medication and medical equipment. As a result, these things are exempt from sales tax. This is incredibly helpful to retirees, especially for those who have to spend more on medical fees and other needed equipment. And since retirement has you considering your medical fees and other forms of healthcare assistance, this essentially helps you have more for that purpose. Another benefit that Washington State provides are sales tax exemptions for senior citizens and disabled persons for personal use items. While the criteria for this is fairly variable, it's advisable for retirees to check with the Washington State Department of Revenue or consult a tax professional for more information. Now, in terms of the three main things to think about when it comes to taxes, those are the three that you have to think about. However, there are some that you need to consider as well when it comes to retiring in Washington State, namely estate taxes. If you're planning on leaving a hefty amount of money to your heirs, it's important to know exactly how much you're gonna be leaving. This matters because while Washington State does have estate tax laws, it's only applicable if you reach a certain amount. As of 2023, the exemption amount is around $2,193,000 per person. If the amount exceeds the threshold provided, the estate shall be subject to Washington's estate tax for review. Estate taxes are calculated on a progressive scale. Next, there's retirement account income. Like other forms of income taxes, Washington State does not have any taxes for retirement income. However, it's a different story when it comes to federal taxes and tax credits. There are a lot of tax credits available for retirees, including the Federal Earned Income Tax Credit or EITC, which helps out low to moderate income families with financial assistance. According to the Department of Revenue for Washington State, some tax credits and exemptions available are the Property Tax Assistance Program for widows or widowers of veterans, the Property Tax Deferral Program for homeowners with limited income, the Property Tax Deferral Program for senior citizens and people with disabilities, the Property Tax Exemption for nonprofit organizations, and the Property Tax Exemption Program for senior citizens and people with disabilities. Volatility of tax policies. While it isn't necessarily something that most retirees can account for when it comes to planning their retirement, the reality is that tax laws change all the time. As a result, it's important for retirees to stay informed about any changes that may or may not benefit them. Even the smallest change can often impact their financial situation and can gradually change their way of living. In conclusion, Washington State offers retirees a myriad of options when it comes to retiring. Not having to pay state income taxes is a huge advantage for high earners, and as a result, it's definitely an attractive way to lure in residents who want to keep more of their income for themselves. While property taxes can get tough, it's still manageable through exemptions and tax credits if you're eligible. And while sales tax is high, there are some afforded exemptions for retirees that help them out with daily life, like essential goods to provide them financial relief. Consulting with a tax professional in the area is a crucial step in knowing more about the situation, and we highly recommend it if you're looking to know more about the tax situation in Washington State. How these policies shift and change can greatly affect your quality of life, and staying informed can help you a lot in figuring out how your expenses are gonna look like. If you've enjoyed this video and found us helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. We'd like to be able to grow alongside you, and we're pumped to have you in our next video. Stay mentally healthy, and let's get financially fit together.